Avram Avinu was the man that was called Ish HaIvri. Ivri means Ever HaYarden, the other side of the river. He was the man to take that big step.
And because he had the courage to see what was messed up and stand up against it and go his own way against the way the whole world was, that's what was special about him, because he was not afraid to stand up for his truth even though everybody else was messed up.
Abraham lived in terrible times when no one believed in anything and the world and civilization were morally corrupt, and Abraham managed to change that all around.
Abraham was a unique individual in that he was the first individual to recognize the oneness of God.
He basically grew up amongst idol worshippers, and he came to his own conclusion that there's got to be someone who made the world, and it can't be these idols that we made.
He had many special things about him, but the one that I could think of is that he was the first man who he believed in something, and he was willing to go against the whole world for what he believed in.
He was also a man that could take pain after being circumcised when he was 99.
Our father Abraham is the founder of the Jewish people and of Judaism, and really through that he's the founder of all monotheistic religions in the world. It's amazing that one individual could have such an influence, not only on his generation, but on all generations that have come after him as well. Abraham, Maimonides teaches us, he was 52 years old when he came to the full realization of his faith in one God, the universal God. And his uniqueness is that he taught about God through his behavior towards other human beings. He didn't preach God, he preached kindness, compassion, charity, right and wrong. And through those methods, he was able to influence people to realize that there is a God in the world. The famous idea that the Midrash says that when he invited people to his home to eat, and after they were done eating, he said, now we have to say thank you. So they thought that he meant to say thank you to Abraham and to Sarah who prepared the meal, which certainly is true. But he said, no, we have to say thank you to the Lord that has given us our bread, that has given us life. By inviting people in your home and giving them a meal, then you can talk to them about God. If you're just going to stand up and holler about God and not do anything for human beings, it's going to be very hard to reach people, very hard to convince people of anything. On the other hand, we shouldn't think of Abraham as a softy, as, Mr. Nice Guy. There are nerds in the world, and therefore that's why he's such a nice person. That's not true. We see he goes to war when he has to go to war. He's strong when he has to be strong. He's even, so to speak, cruel when he has to be cruel, as when he takes his son Isaac and is willing to sacrifice him in order to fulfill the commandment of God. And the Lord stops him to illustrate that human sacrifice is not necessary. But Abraham is a man of steel. And for him to be such a nice person, quote unquote, it's, so to speak, an extension of one's character to be able at one and the same time be a strong person and a compassionate person. And Abraham set the example. He created this idea of how to treat human beings and how to see God through the treatment of those human beings. And that's why he is the father of all of the major monotheistic religions. He's the father of the Jewish people. In fact, that's the name that we call him, Avraham Avinu, Abraham our father, because of the fact that he remains the main prototype of what Judaism hopes to produce. Now, Abraham was not the first monotheist in the world. Noah was a monotheist. Shem was a monotheist. Aver was a monotheist. There were many, many generations before him. But no one was able to spread the message. No one was able to create a family, a tribe, a nation that would believe and live according to those precepts. That Abraham was able to do. And our rabbis teach us, the Meiri says it a number of places, that half the world was convinced by Abraham at the time of his life. And we see in the Chumash, we see in the Torah, that Abraham is complimented. Nasi Elokim ato b'tocheinu. You're the Prince of God in our midst. Well, if anybody that can be seen by the world as being a Prince of God is certainly worthy of our respect and our emulation.
Not as far as I know.
Many people say that Christopher Columbus could have been Jewish himself, but with a name like Christopher, I mean, you know, that's really having a laugh in itself.
I don't think he was Jewish, but I think I heard that a lot of his crew members were Jewish, as sailors and things like that.
I believe Christopher Columbus was a Jew living in Spain.
That's what they say his mom was, so usually that means he is.
They say, this I'm not 100% sure, but they say that Columbus's navigator was a Jew.
This is one of the trick questions in Jewish history. Was Christopher Columbus Jewish? What we do know about Christopher Columbus is that he came from a family that originally was Jewish. In 1391, there were great pogroms throughout Spain, and many of the Jews were forced to convert to Christianity because of the threat of being killed. Columbus's family, which originally was Jewish, became Christian and moved to Italy, lived in Genoa, where Columbus was born. Columbus himself was a Christian. However, we do find, and scholars have written many articles and books about the matter, we do find that Columbus had certain Jewish, what shall I say, characteristics. The way he wrote, phrases that he used, all were common to converso Jews who were forced to adopt Christianity on the outside, but attempted to retain some vestige of Judaism on the inside. And Columbus's crew that came to America, that discovered the new continent, there were Jews, there were crypto-Jews, and there were real Jews that were on board. And therefore, this tantalizing mystery has always existed, was Columbus Jewish or not? I think that's what's more important is the fact that Columbus's expedition to the New World was financed by Jews. Abraham Senior and other Jewish financiers in Spain were the ones that put up the money for the exploration. And two, the fact that the exploration mission, the boats left just at the very same time that the expulsion of the Jews from Spain occurred in August of 1492. And therefore, Columbus's role in discovering the New World, which would provide such a wonderful haven for Jews centuries later, is tied inextricably to Jewish history, to one of the saddest chapters in Jewish life, which is that of the expulsion from Spain. So Columbus has a role in Jewish history, even if he himself could not under any circumstances be considered to be Jewish either in halachic or in the social fashion. But nevertheless, he has Jewish attachments, which make the question so poignant, and why it hasn't gone off the table, so to speak, for many centuries.
As far as like not being able to marry one wife anymore, I don't know what they were thinking when they stopped that, because it seems to be an all-around good idea. God's cool with it, I'm cool with it, and like, I don't know what the rabbis were thinking in the slightest.
The reason why they must have stopped marrying more than one wife is because they probably were killing each other or getting jealous of each other, and therefore they just felt it'd be better for everyone to stop it.
I think what happened was men got greedy